you know what, Tom? It's conclave time. Okay? It's in the air.
It's happening now, isn't it?
It's happening right now as we speak. And yeah, so my story is fairly topical this week. So I thought, I'd take a trip down memory lane. And take
when you were a pope.
Yeah. And take a look at some of the strange stories in the papacy past. This story begins with Stephen V. Okay. And he is a soon-to-be pope, and he's sort of chilling in Rome. He's not a pope yet. Spoilers, he's going to be a pope.
He's a pop for now.
He's a pop.
But soon he will get the...
So he's fairly well off. He was born into nobility, and he's sort of...
Nepo pope.
He's a Nepo pope. And he starts to rise through the ranks of the church at a pretty early age. So he's a... I don't know where I'm going with this, because I don't know anything about the church.
At first he's a church goer, then he's an altar boy.
Yeah.
Then he's the priest.
Yeah.
Then he's
God. Yeah, pretty much.
The pipeline.
Pope line. He's pretty ruthless. He gets what he wants usually, and a lot of people are pretty scared of him. And most importantly, Tom, he holds a grudge, okay? If you wrong him in any way, he will not forget it, all right?
Sounds like quite an intense character, this guy.
He is. He's pretty intense.
Stephen the Fifth.
Yeah.
You've written sick there. Is that not sick?
Stephen the Sixth. Sorry.
Rowan doesn't know his Roman numerals.
I missed out Stephen. Sorry, guys. So at the end of the 9th century, he was made into the Bishop of Anagni.
Oh, yeah.
Anagni.
Sounds like a backwards word.
Unagi. By Pope Formosus, who was the current pope at the time. Now, you think he'd be buzzing about this, He's already been made a bishop at a pretty early age, but he's actually quite annoyed because this is a bit of a diss, he thinks. He thinks he deserves a better bishophood than Anagi. Pope Formosus, he's got bigger things to worry about, right? He doesn't have time to worry about this little dweeb who's angry about his bishophood, right? He's in a big old dispute with the Holy Roman Empire, right? It's not your normal Roman Empire, it's the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Okay?
That sounds like a good band. That.
It does, doesn't it? Also, Europe is falling apart. Vikings keep raiding and stuff, so things aren't going well. And the actual emperor of the Holy Roman Empire hates him, can't stand this pope. So basically, all you need to know is he's got enemies on the outside, he's got enemies on the inside, and also this bloke called Stephen hates him, all right?
Right, not very popular.
No.
That's the only pope puns we can get in.
I like the Pope-mobile. I wonder if they had a Pope-mobile back then.
What's the Pope-mobile?
I've never seen the Pope-mobile. That little van he goes around in, the glass van, and he waves. He actually dies after only 5 years as Pope under no suspicious circumstances whatsoever, okay? So I'm going to go back to what I said a few weeks ago, Tom. Don't be suspicious about this, all right? So ding ding. All right, it's time for a conclave. Ant and Deck rush in. Buzzers at the ready, everyone. Time to vote in. The lines are open.
It's more of a Harry Hill job.
Harry Hill?
Yeah.
Who was he present?
Harry Hill's TV burp, where they're like, who's it going to be? Right, which pope do you want? There's only one way to find out.
That's very true.
Fine. That'll take a lot less time than a conclave.
The answer on everyone's lips is, could Stephen win this? Right? He wants to be a pope.
But people are scared of Stephen, though.
People are scared of him, but here's the thing with Stephen, right? He is very popular with the rich and powerful. He comes from that background. So they think we can control Stephen. We can get him to be the pope. So the conclave takes place. The votes are cast. After some time, Stephen loses. Okay.
Oh no.
Some other bloke called Boniface, he's elected, right? But only a few days later, he dies. Nothing suspicious to see here. I'm sure it's all above board. Although, to be fair, in the 1800s, I would imagine it is above board because you'd just die of anything. You'd stub your toe and you'd die.
What was the cause of death? Do we know?
Murder. I'm joking. I don't know. So the lines are back open. Stephen is through to the final round, and boom, he's got the golden buzzer. He's done it, right? Stephen has been made the Pope. So things are going well. Stephen's having a great time. He's loving his new role. But Stephen holds a grudge, right? Even though the last Pope, Formosus, is dead, he thinks, I've still got beef with this guy. I'm not letting this lie.
The dead one?
Yeah.
Let it rest. Come on.
So in January 1897, Stephen orders that the tomb of Formosus be opened and his body pulled up. So they go get his body, they drag it up, and the decaying body, he's been dead 6 months at this point, right? It's been a long journey to get to this point.
Surely if you pulled a 6-month dead body up, it would just crumble.
Well, I think it's mostly mush at this point, but it is reminiscent of a body at this point.
We've both just referred to him as it. That's very disrespectful of us.
That's very disrespectful of Formosus. So
makes me hungry, that name.
What?
Makes me hungry.
Formosus?
Yeah.
Should we go get a Formosus after this? And chips. So yeah, the decaying body's brought up to the surface and propped onto the throne of the papal see. and a trial is held with Pope Stephen acting as a prosecutor. He believes that this should be done under God, and that's what he's claiming. He's like, oh, well, this pope did lots of bad stuff, and he wasn't actually really a pope, so he should be tried. But a lot of other people also think that maybe he's doing this to try and salvage relations with the Holy Roman Empire. Remember them?
I do.
Because the last pope hated
Loved
them.
their new album.
So he thinks, I'm going to put him on trial, and I'm going to make sure that he's forgotten from the history books. He's no longer going to be classed as a pope or anything like that. And this will make relationships good again. However, kind of backfires, because while that might be true, a lot of people inside the papacy are going, this isn't cool, man. This isn't cool. You can't do this, bro. Like this, I don't like this. Even if they didn't like the last pope very much, they're kind of like, you know,
This is not dope, Pope.
No, this guy was chosen by God. So the trial goes on, and Formosus, the dead pope, he's charged with breaking canon law, perjury, and illegally serving as a bishop. He's found guilty. He's stripped of any papal vestments, and 3 fingers are cut off from his right hand.
And he's dead.
He's dead.
Is that necessary?
He's very dead.
Just adding insult to injury. He's already in the afterlife. You're giving him echoes of pain.
So how would that work? If you were in heaven, dead, and then you get 3 fingers chopped off, do you just suddenly lose 3 fingers in heaven?
I think so. Yeah, I think that tends to be how it works.
I think so. So he's chucked in a commoner's grave, but he's not even happy with that, Stephen. They dig him up again, and then they just toss him in the Tiber River in Rome. They just lob him in. Now, this is the final straw for most people, because
well, he's dead, so the final straw's been and gone.
You might remember me saying at the start of this that the dead pope actually won, and so far it doesn't sound very much like he won. He was classed as guilty.
So is he technically still pope then? Have they just...
Well, no, currently he's not, okay, because he got stripped of that. But in a way, he did actually win, because the grotesque nature of the trial alienated pretty much everyone around Stephen. They're like, no, man, this ain't cool. Right. Especially as the corpse washes up on the side of the Tiber River, and locals claim to be experiencing miracles. So the anger gets so bad that Stephen is actually deposed, imprisoned, and then strangled to death. Shortly after, the trial that happened was made redundant, so the old pope becomes pope again by official
rules. Dead one?
The dead one.
Okay.
He's given a proper reburial in his original grave. So he's been buried, I guess, 3 times at this point. And then Stephen is actually buried right next to him, forever linking them
holding hands.
In death. Yeah.
So who's actually pope now then?
Then they got another one in. Right. Yeah. This was actually during a point where they basically had a new pope every year.
I'm still not 100% sure like how that all works. Conclave was my education on it.
Yeah, same.
Which is a fictional film.
I'd recommend that to anyone. That was actually my real recommendation at some point, I think. So, yeah.
Hope you watched it.
Yeah, if you didn't.
We're wasting our time with these recommendations.